Have you ever had those days where you finish night shift and it's like 6 a.m. and you're feeling good, you don't have day shift, and you're like, I'm going to go for a long bike ride and then go hiking? Yeah, not the first time I've done this, and it probably won't be the last. That is Gozanyama, which is what I intend to hike. Now, there's a ruins of a castle up there, there's an observation tower, I guess where a bell tower used to be. And yeah, it's not that high. I think it's 156 meters. However, one of the things is that the Mito Takagawa domain that controlled this area during the Edo period, I guess from my understanding, they didn't really allow logging up here. And so there's lots of old growth in this area. So that is Gozanyama Mountain. The castle was Gozanyama Castle, and the village was Gozanyama Village. So Yama, it means mountain in Japanese. Now you might be like, well, why isn't it Fujiyama, Nantayama? Well, the thing is that the same character can be read two different ways. It can either be read as Yama or Sun. That's why it's Fuji-san. Sun is the more traditional pronunciation. So generally mountains with, I guess, a long literary history or literary importance, they usually have Sun. To make things even more confusing, there's a taller and better known Gozanyama that's south of Tokyo. Here's the trailhead. It's kind of convenient how you can just pass under the bridge from the parking lot. I didn't know this was used for competitive trail runs, but let's get started. It's pretty well marked, so this should be easy. So far. So the first part is gaining a lot of elevation, and then looking at a topographical map, it's pretty flat and almost like a ridge from here. Here we have the walls of the castle. So with the way these castles were built is they had first in earthworks, which kind of produced a steep ramp, which if you wanted to get to the wall, you had to climb up that. And it also gave you enveloping fire, I think they called it, where, you know, if you miss the person you're aiming at, you could hit the person behind them. And then on top of this earthwork was where they built the wall itself. It should give you a better idea of the scale of the moat. You can see that part's been filled in. And there's the earthworks up to the wall. Unlike, I guess, Europe, using Europe is a very, very loose, broad term here. Not many castles survived in Japan. Some of that was due to just inheritance. Nobody really inherited. Most of them were turned over to state property. A lot of them were demolished for use for public buildings because there was a greater need for public buildings with the new Meiji government. So this is where the bell tower was. Kind of nice high position. Probably you could see quite a bit from the tower. Kind of neat is you can actually see the dividing line between where they cut and where they didn't cut. So in Japan they cut and then replanted with this cedar softwood. However, the prices ended up collapsing, and so they were never harvested. So if you see these areas in Japan where it's just all the same pine tree, yep, plantation, it was planted. And on the left, a little more natural. Here is Fukikuro Falls. I've actually been here before. I came here with a former colleague. We were going to another mountain nearby, that used to have a mine on it, and we were going to go through the trailings and look for crystals. However, this like freak huge snowstorm came, a bunch of the roads were closed, we couldn't get up there, so we ended up going another time. But that day we ended up coming here and we walked to this waterfall, and it was snowing, and it was actually really pretty. I wish I had gotten a video of it in hindsight, but now I'm back, and that colleague's in the United States now, so guess a little touch of nostalgia. That was a fun hike, but it's done. I got myself lunch. So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Why don't you go down to the comments section and tell me about the last hike that you did.